Well, hello there. I'm Clutch from Sodak Motorcycle Blog, and you're tuned in to another episode of Tales from the Road. So, first of all, before we get into it, Tales from the Road. Essentially, I tell you some tales from my earlier days of riding a motorcycle, some things you haven't quite heard on the Sodak Motorcycle Blog, and, well, it's kind of set up to where I'm sitting here in a bar, and we're just telling some stories. So, that's kind of what this is. So, today's story, we're going to talk about, let's see, this would be the first multi-day motorcycle trip I took on a motorcycle. And actually rode the motorcycle. Didn't trailer it, but first time I did this. So, well, let's go back to 2005. So this events, all these events took place in August of 2005. Ironically enough, this would have been, so we had a guard drill coming up, and at that time, a guy that I was in the unit with, he ended up buying a motorcycle about the same time I did. And he decided, he's like, hey, for drill this weekend, let's ride our motorcycles to drill. And I'm like, hell yeah, let's ride our motorcycles to drill. Hell yeah, nothing better like, two dudes out on the open road, easy rider, all that crap, right? Like I said, I was young. You gotta, we were all young once, right? So just all them great things of like, oh, the road, and you think about just the romanticizing of it, of the road, when you're on a motorcycle, all the stereotypes, right? And so, is it bothering me? Sorry. This blog is not immune to my OCD. But anyways, so we decide we're going to do it. It's cool, awesome. And I'm like all excited. Cause like, yeah, first time I get to go on a motorcycle. Granted, I was only going back home because at that time, the Guardian I was with was pretty close to home. I joined it when I was 17. So, I'd go to drill and, well, I just would go home. So, and we decided we're going to set off. And it's Friday morning. We leave I think it was about 7 in the morning. And the ride out there went pretty good. His bike ran pretty good. My bike ran great because it was still pretty much new. His bike was a little rough. He didn't buy a brand new bike. Mine was brand new. And so the riding was good. The weather was good. It was a little warm, but, no big deal. Everything went well going out there. And so we have our, we ride out there. We go to drill. We do our thing. Well, so Saturday night, I think it was like 8 o'clock at night, the phone rings at the house, and it's the guy I rode out with. He's like, hey, Dick, because he always called me Dick. That was his thing. It was like, hey, Dick, like kind of one of those dudes, like he calls you Dick because, the word Dick is funny, whatever, basically, essentially, kind of like if my name was Boobs, like people like, Boobs, what you doing? But anyways, he calls, he's like, hey, so, now he'd already had some issues going out. So right before our last stop, before we got to where basically we kind of peeled our separate ways, because his parents lived in Redfield, his muffler clamp come loose on him. So, and he was like, well, what do I do with it? And it's like, yeah, just, I'd take it to the welding shop, just have them weld the thing on there. Because, it was, I think the clamp was broken, the muffler was broken. Basically, welding was the only thing it was going to fix. And I'm like, go to Burdick's, which was the welding shop in Redfield. Go to Burdick's. I'll bet you they'd probably weld it for a couple bucks. And that's what he did. Well, so Saturday night he calls me. The phone rings, and he's like, hey, Dick, my bike ain't running right now. I'm like, well, that sucks. And he's like, hey, so here's what I think we should do. So if I can't get that bike running, I think I'm just gonna, I'll just ride bitch with you on the bike, and we're gonna ride that way. I'll just wear all our stuff in my backpack. And I'm like, well, first of all, buddy, I have a backrest. Second of all, like, I'm taking extra stuff back. Mind you, this was my last drill out there. I was moving out here to come to drilling out here after it. So I had a couple extra things. Granted, not everything, but my bike was going to be loaded down to the gills. And I remind him, like, hey, you do understand, like, my bike is loaded to the gills. And I was honestly kind of a dick about it. I'm like, maybe, I reminded him, hey, you were the one that wanted to ride motorcycles out. And, one of the things of having a motorcycle is it kind of needs to run and get to places. I'm like, I recommend you get that thing figured out. Like, what's wrong with it? Figure out what's wrong. It's like, okay, well, I'll see what I can do. I'm just letting you know beforehand. I'm like, okay, whatever, cool. Let's tell you what, in the morning, we'll see where we're at in the morning. So the next day comes, and I get there, and about 10 minutes after I pull in, he comes, his orange Ninja comes up, and I'm like, oh, hey, you got it running. I'm like, you got it running? He's like, yep, runs good. I'm like, I can't remember what he said was wrong. It was something weird, but either way, he got it running. It's like, cool, sweet, awesome. Now we don't have to do that. Like, we don't have to do an extra trip to come get something. So, go through the day, and it's a longer day, and it's hot. I mean, that day, it was probably 100 degrees that day. It was really hot. And we get done with drill, and because he lives in Redfield and I live west of Tulare, I got a little bit of drive. And he's like, well, I asked him, he asked me like, well, when do you want to go? And I said, you know what? It's going to take me a half hour to go home, or probably going to take me 10, 20 minutes to get home. Give me you know what? And I think we got released at 2. I was like, at 3:30, meet me at my place at 3:30 and we'll finish the rest of the ride. And he gets out there, normal time, and, we set off, and it's probably 100 degrees. It's even, my dad to this day still says, he's like, yeah, I was really nervous when you guys left at 3:30 in the afternoon when it was 100 degrees outside. Like, and I don't blame him, because we shouldn't have been riding. It was, like, brutally hot. And, of course, this was East River, so it's freaking humid, right? But we set off anyway, because we're young and dumb. And we get going, and we get through Miller, and we get to, we get out of Miller, and we're getting into a little town called Blunt's, right on Highway 14. And right before we get to Highway 14, he pulls up around me, because he pops around me and basically signals us in so we can get fuel. Like, okay, cool, whatever. We get fuel, and he's like, dude, I fell asleep on the bike. And I'm like, you can fall asleep on a bike? Mind you, I'd like, how do you fall asleep on a bike? He's like, oh no, man, but I'm gonna have to drink some water, get some electrolytes in me. I'm like, well, shit, okay. I mean, let's, we'll do what we gotta do. But man, you got are you sure you're good to ride? Like, yeah, I'm good. Just gotta get some Gatorade in me. Like, okay, cool. And we get filled up, get some Gatorade in us. We end up going through Pier. We get to Midland, decide to take a little break, go to the bathroom, whatever. And, at Midland, it gets better, because he's got this, he's wearing an earring. He got this, little stud, because he was one of them cool guys that had to have an ear piercing. Mind you, in 2005, this wasn't a big deal, and I wasn't I really don't care. And also, even though I was of age where I could decide what I wanted to do, I still can tell you this. Had I walked in the house with a stud in my ear, I'm pretty sure to this day, if I would walk in the house with a stud in my ear, I'm pretty sure my dad would grab his pliers and try to pull that. And at that time, especially at that time, it was a whole different ballgame at that time, So I wouldn't dare do that. So we're sitting there, and all of a sudden we're getting ready to go, and he's like, He starts freaking out. I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, I lost the stud from my earring. I'm like, oh, me. I'm pretty sure that was I'm pretty sure that was my exact reaction. It was me. So we sit there and we're looking for it, and we're looking for it, and we're looking for it. Mind you, it's getting later in the day. It's probably getting about 8 o'clock at night now. The sun's starting to go down. It goes down about 8:15, 8:30 in August. And no, a little bit earlier. So this is probably about 7:30. sun goes down at night. So it's getting darker and darker. The sun's going down in the western sky. I had never ridden in the dark because I was scared to death of riding in the dark because of deer. Like, it took me quite a few years. Granted, I bet you at this time I had 5,000 miles of riding, period, under me. So I didn't have a lot of riding experience. I was deathly afraid of riding in the dark. And I knew it was a risk. Now, granted, if we would have had the issues we had, because mind you, I think going back by this point, I think it's from here or from home to Midland, it probably takes about 3 hours at most. And by this time, it's taken us like 5 hours to get there. So this trip was dragging on. Like, we spent a half an hour in Blunt, and we fueled up in Pier, and gosh, like we spent, probably a half hour there, and we probably spent an hour in Pier. Like, it was really starting to drag on. Well, 20 minutes goes by, and he's still feverishly looking around. I'm like, oh, I didn't mean to say his name. I'm like, I'll have to beep that out. But I'm like, hey, buddy, like, I think it's gone. Like, I think we need to just let the thing go, and can you buy another stud? He's like, probably. I'm like, okay, I think we need to let it go because it's getting dark, and we still are we're still 2 hours from home. Yeah, you're right. So we get going. Like, thank God, finally. And we get to Wall. And by this time, it is pitch black. It's dark at Wall. And it's actually kind of bearable now because, it's not 100 degrees. So that's where I learned there is value to riding at night because it's a little bit cooler. Mind you, this is all an learning experience for me. And we get to Wall and we're filling up, whatever. He's like, hey, so I texted, I just called a friend of mine and there's like a big thunderstorm in Rapid City, and I think we need to just find a hotel and stay the night here. And this is where I come unglued. Because at the same time when all this is going on, mind you, this drill was the first weekend of August. Now, at that time, there was a certain motorcycle event that started. At that time, it ran Monday through Sunday. The first official day of the event was the first Monday after the first full weekend of August. Now, if you haven't figured out what this is the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally going on. Now, this isn't like the modern Sturgis Motorcycle Rally. No, this is 2005 Sturgis Motorcycle Rally. We're at the height of when everybody's like on a motorcycle and going to this rally. We're coming off like, the 2000 rally was like almost, it was like 680,000, and 01 was 600, and it was like 580 for like the next 3 years. I think the 05 rally was like a 580,000 people. Granted, obviously it was because it was a 0 or a 5. So this was the 65th anniversary of the rally. So, and here's what happens during the rally around here for those of you who don't know. Pretty much every hotel at that time, from Gillette, Wyoming to Phillip, South Dakota, and Murdo, South Dakota, was booked solid. Every campground is booked solid. The Sturgis motorcycle is a big deal. You're watching the Sodak motorcycle blog. This is a motorcycle blog. I'm preaching to the choir of this. It's Sturgis Rally. And I remind him, hey, you do realize it's Sturgis Rally. There's nowhere to stay. I'm to the point where I'm at my breaking point now because this has just been building and building. It's like, there's nowhere to stay, buddy. Like, where are we going to stay? Where are we going to pitch a tent? We don't have tents. There's no hotels. We have two options. We have an option. It's ride through it. That's our option. It's like, if we get to a spot where it's really bad, we go under an overpass. Those are our options. We don't have any other option. We can't stay anywhere. We can't loiter in the parking lot. We can't sit here at Common Sense and Wall all damn night. They're going to kick us out. We can't just do it. Like, what the hell, dude? And he's like, yeah, you're right. I'm like, well, yeah, dude, like, think about this. So we keep going. Well, we get to Rapid City, and there's no thunder. The other thing, and I actually mentioned, I'm like, I would guess by it, where's the thunderstorm moving? Where's it going? Well, I don't know. Well, dude, I can't really go off anything. Granted, this was once again '05. We didn't have this. We didn't have this where I could just pop onto a weather app and see where the rain was going. This has kind of made lives easier on a bike. Cuss them all you want, but these kind of make life on a motorcycle a little easier if you know how to use them. So we get through Rapid City, and yes, the roads are wet, but no big deal. Didn't even put on my rain gear. And mind you, it's still dark this whole damn time. I think we got to, because we both lived in Spearfish, I think we got to Spearfish at, well, I think if I remember right, I pulled into my drive or to my apartment at like 11:45 at night. Was finally when I got home. And granted, so we left it, when we left, 3:30, 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30. So it took 8.5 hours to ride that. Which usually is not a surprise, but like I said, I had no bearing in this. This was my first motorcycle trip. So 9.5 hours later, we finally get home. And my wife was kind of worried sick. She's like, I was worried something happened to you guys. Well, let me tell you the story. And I told her this whole story. And we went to bed, and I woke up the next morning, and I went to work at Walmart at, I think my shift started at 11 o'clock in the morning. So fortunately, it didn't start too early, but I was wrecked. Like, the mental stress of it, the physical stress of it, or riding through all that, I was wrecked. So, yeah. That's the story of my first motorcycle trip. And, you know, I learned on that, my first motorcycle trip, just the lessons of, you know what? You're going to have all the plans in the world, and it's never going to work out that way. And honestly, that has held true on every single motorcycle trip I have taken since. Now, granted, most of them haven't been that kind of disaster of that. That's also where I think I kind of developed some of my liking of, you know what? When I'm by myself on a motorcycle, it's pretty peaceful. And I found this out the next summer. So the next summer, I think I rode home for, a couple days. And that trip home was a lot less stressful when it was just me, because I take pretty good care of my machines. I bought a good bike from the start. There's definitely some value in going by yourself, and because in the end you can kind of take care of most things. Granted, I've had some trips that haven't worked out so well, but yeah, like that was such an eye-opening experience on motorcycle trips. And I wish I would have took some of those lessons a little more to heart, because there are a lot of those lessons that have still come by. Like, your plan is only as good as, well, the next thing that happens. And that was a prime example there where, you're taking a motorcycle trip with someone who doesn't have quite as good of a bike as you. That's always a thing to go. Also, you can really you kind of have a solid head on your shoulders when you're riding these trips. But funny story, it all worked out. Here's the thing in the end. The biggest thing with that, and this is the first time I learned this lesson, and this is still a lesson I learned every single motorcycle trip. Regardless of what happens on the trip, when you get home at the end of it and you're all intact and your bike is pretty much intact, you know what? You kind of call it a good trip and you move on. It's funny because you always, as us motorcyclists, you always forget all the crap that happened on the trip when you get home. Because you're like, oh, I can't wait to take the next one. And the same exact stuff will happen the next trip, and you'll be angry and you'll be frustrated the whole damn time. But you're going to get home and you'll be like, yep, everything's all good. Bike's in one piece. I'm in one piece. I can't wait to take the next trip. So that's what's funny about those motorcycle trips. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. We're gonna keep doing the series. This is kind of a fun series to do. And, it just gives me a chance to kind of talk to the camera, tell some stories, and, go from there. But anyways, I'd like to thank you for stopping by the Sodak Motorcycle Blog. My name is Clutch. We make weekly motorcycle videos. They come out every Thursday at 7 p.m. in Denver. So if you figure out what Denver time is, if it's 7 p.m. on a Thursday, guess what? A Sodak motorcycle video, or Sodak motorcycle blog video is coming up. But anyways, I'd like to thank you for stopping by. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you dislike this video, hit the dislike button. Also, feel free to leave a comment. Also, if you're at the Sodak motorcycle blog and you like what you see, go ahead and hit the like button, because that'd be great. Also, if you don't want to wait for your videos and you want priority comments, if you hit the link below and you sign up for a membership of the Sodak motorcycle blog for $2.99 a month, you get videos the minute they get uploaded. You get priority reply to comments, as in you leave a comment on a video, I will reply to it right there. You don't have to wait till comments and beer for my reply. Also, you get a cool little badge that goes by your name when you comment on my videos. But anyways, for the Sodak motorcycle blog, I'm Clutch. We'll see you later.